I'm Arielle Ross. I'm the treasurer of the GSA at Ursinus College, and I'm also the project coordinator for the Queer House here. So when I was growing up, my parents worked for the government abroad, so we moved around a lot. So every 4 years we moved to a different place, and that was pretty cool because I got to see a lot of different cultures and things, and different ways that people did things. But one of the things that was really difficult for me was starting around 2000, 2001, when George Bush was elected. A lot of the people coming into those American communities abroad suddenly became much more conservative than my parents were. And then the whole politics in that where everyone knows everybody else's business. So it was like living in a small town, except for them not. And that was sort of difficult to figure out what was okay that wouldn't inconvenience my family and my dad's job and all this stuff. When I was 12, my mom and I were watching the news, and it must have been June because then there was a pride parade, and my mom was like, "Oh look, it is the gay festival," and I was like, "Mom, it's Pride, don't be an idiot," because I was a snarky 12-year-old who needed to be hit. And she looked over at me and made this face, and I was like, "Are you a lesbian?" I should state for the record, I am not a lesbian. I like women. And I was just like, I don't know what to say. Waffle, 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 I don't know what to say, I'm freaking out. I told her, I think I'm bisexual, and she mostly was like, that doesn't exist. You're lying. And I'm like, I'm really not. I'm really, really not lying to you. And she wouldn't let it go. And so finally hid in my room and we didn't speak about it for 4 years. Boys, women, sex, things besides use a condom all the time. Still good advice. Didn't talk about it for 4 years. And then when I was 16, then we had the more, you will get pregnant and die kind of conversation, which was frightening. So when I was 16, we moved to China, and at about that time, someone else moved there as well. So we both moved together, and it was super exciting. And about an hour into knowing her, I realized that she thought I was cute. I was like, all right, you're interesting. You have dreadlocks, you have weird ear things happening. You're kind of, all right. She actually became the first girl I ever kissed, properly, not third grade. One of the things about that was that it was even more intimidating because my dad had been promoted, so there was all of this I really have to keep it on the down low. And so it was very much okay, I can't be that person, I can't do that. And that was frustrating for me, and it was frustrating for her, and so we ended up breaking up because she wanted more out of that than I did. And that was really devastating because she did it badly. But it was very much oh, I'll never be loved, I'll never, I can never really be with someone I really like, I'll always have to hide it, I'll never be able to hold hands like I see my best friend or her boyfriend doing. This is gonna suck, it's gonna be terrible. I knew it wasn't though, because I saw all of these resources on the computer, and I knew about grown-up friends of my parents who lived in different places and did entirely different things, but had long-term partnerships and adopted adorable babies, and it did the other life stuff that I could have if I grew up and stuck with it. But one of the best things was that I was going to go to college in a year, and I just needed to stick it out and get out of high school, which was going to be terrible, but I was going to go to college. I could live with people who didn't know anything about me. My parents couldn't see what I was doing, who I was doing it with, and no one that they were around was going to see any of that. And so I could do what I wanted in college, and that was fantastic. It was so freeing that this sucks right now, but in a year I can do what I want. And it really got better. My friends are super open about it. I'm dating a boy now because I am, because I think he's lovely and brilliant and all kinds of wonderful, cuddly things. We talk about it, and he's very understanding of the need, oh my gosh, I need women, and I need this, and I need to talk about the things that I care about in this queer community, because although I'm dating a man, I still very much identify myself within the queer community, which is why I'm treasurer and project coordinator of all of these things here. There are lots and lots of resources on the internet. There are all kinds of websites that are written for teens that are about sexual health if you're gay, lesbian, bisexual, or trans. There are all of these websites that you can look at, subtly delete from your browser history, just look at being like, I was curious about this other sex thing, or a friend of mine, or whatever. On television, they're beginning to do more things with queer storylines and queer issues, and they talk about it, and sometimes they're deeply flawed. Like Glee is deeply flawed, but they do things where they at least initiate a conversation, and so you could initiate a conversation in class or with your parents or with your friends, being like, so I saw this thing on television and it was interesting. What do you think? And you can sort of suss the situation out that way. And then just generally stick around. I swear, 12 and 13 blows. It blows. 16 blows. I think if you peak then, if you're having a great time then, I don't know what you do with the rest of your life. How do you bounce back from that? So college is just so wonderful. So you should stick around. You should attempt at college. Try harder. And it'll get better. And it is what you make of it. But live long enough to have some freedom with that.